All right. WrestleBuzz post-show review, NXT Halloween Havoc. It's Joseph Crush from the Wrestling Journal podcast and WrestleBuzz, along with the CEO, President, CFO, COO, every title you can name of Paper Champion Fantasy Wrestling. Eric James, what's up, buddy? What's going on?
My man, how's it going, brother?
Going good, man. Good show. We just zoomed. We watched it together. It was a good show, man. It was very entertaining. NXT. But I think Shawn Michaels called it like the like a new day for NXT, kind of like the rebirth of NXT. This show, so I thought it was pretty good, man. Okay. We're gonna break it down. What'd you think? Any overall thoughts from the beginning, from the get go, before we head into each match?
I enjoyed it. I liked it as well. A couple of finishes that I didn't really see happening. It was kind of a tight score, tight match card to predict. But I enjoyed it. You know, everybody worked their ass off. You know, enjoyed it.
We didn't see any slouches tonight. I don't think we saw a lot a lot of good performances. Let's get into it right off the bat. They started off hot with the North American Championship ladder match. Who was it? Wesley.
Oro Mencia,
whatever. We mentioned it before. I wasn't really familiar with him. Von Wagner.
I believe he was Oliver Carter in NXT UK. I believe.
Okay. Nathan Frazier, Carmelo Hayes. He don't miss. He missed tonight though. And there was another. Who else was in there? It was a fifth.
It was Nathan Frazier, you just say?
Yeah, I mentioned Nathan Frazier.
Von Wagner, Nathan Frazier, Oro Mencia, Wesley,
the
winner.
Who was the winner?
Hayes.
Yeah.
There's only 5.
Oh, it was only 5. Wesley was the winner of the match. Spot fest, very heavy. What were your thoughts overall of the match? I mean, it was a couple big deals. You mentioned when I came in late to the Zoom stream. And you mentioned a Spanish fly into a ladder. It was a big spot. What were your overall thoughts of the match?
Yeah, good match. Spot heavy, definitely spot heavy. Everybody, you know, it was pretty much a bad bump for everybody in the matchup. It was good. Nathan Frazier to me was the MVP of it. Nathan Frazier came out to play, stole the show. I honestly thought Von Wagner might have been the guy that was going to win it, just because he's so hated and he's. You know, we were mentioning during the show that he's very Baron Corbin-esque.
Yes.
And he is, but not in the good ways. You know, he's very all the stuff that's negative about Baron Corbin has been encompassed, and now it's like Von Wagner.
Yeah.
You know, so either way, with that being said, that matchup was nuts. And that spot that you were mentioning, those that watched it, that Spanish fly with him, Nathan Frazier, and Carmelo, they bounced off the middle rope, and it was basically like a dual moonsault right onto the ladder. That was nuts. And then there were other spots too as well. But yeah, for sure, Wesley, he was the obvious pick to win. Once again, like I said, I was going for Von Wagner, hoping he would win just because, you know, be a heel coming out of it. But Wesley was the obvious pick. Happy, I'm a Wesley fan. Yeah. You know, everybody looked great. I think everybody had new attire, but which is always a plus in matches like this.
For sure.
Carmelo had the Halloween Havoc inspired attire, which was pretty cool. They had like a Halloween Havoc knee pad. Shout out to that.
Yeah, I think plug here for thepaperchampion.com, Paper Champion Fans for Wrestling Done Right. I picked Nathan Frazier to win, but I mean, you're right. Wesley was the obvious pick. Congrats to him. A nice little moment on social media afterwards with him and Shawn Michaels embracing in the back. New North American champion for Wesley. He's been through a lot ever since Nash Carter had to get knocked from the roster. So he's been going through like let's say a growth here on a singles run, and I think he's done well. I think he's shown a lot for what he's able to do, and now he's the North American champion. So a good way to start the card, in my opinion, and start the show. And it kind of set up for what we were expecting for the rest of the night. But yeah, a lot of good bumps, a lot of good spots. What you expect in a 5-man ladder match, right? In NXT, it wasn't the best, I'd say, that we've seen, but it's definitely it was a good one for sure.
Yeah.
But shout out to Wesley, man. Shout out to Wesley. After that, we got a nice little segment with Toxic Attraction and Alba Fire. Like what you want to call it, like a haunted house segment, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, but we're big horror movie fans, and it was definitely like a B level type shooting, but it was cool. It was corny. It was cheesy. I liked it. It was good. It kind of made it set up for the match later on, which maybe we not everyone agrees with. But what do you think of the presentation of the? What do you even want to call that type of segment? Right, like a horror house. I don't know. What do you think?
I loved it. It was it seems like they're going to be doing this theme every year with Halloween Havoc. That one of their matches has some sort of horror element. Last year they had Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes with Dexter Loomis in the house. I believe it was last year, and that was really good. That was hilarious. I thought it was so funny. They were dressed up as I'm pretty sure they were dressed up as like Crime Time or something like that. But
yeah.
Either way, great. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I like that kind of stuff. I'm very easy to please personally when it comes to any kind of spooky element within professional wrestling. I'm pretty easy to please. I'm okay with it. Alba
Yeah.
kind of seemed to morph over the last, since this rivalry where Mandy, she's kind of morphed into this supernatural kind of character. I'm interested in seeing whether it's going to carry over or whether it's just kind of for Halloween Havoc. Is she going to continue being, half face paint, maybe full face paint, maybe, embracing more of her darker side, now that possibly this rivalry is over. It's probably not because of the interference, but I don't know how much longer you can stretch this rivalry out. Mandy's already beat her twice, and this was the matchup that I thought Alba was going to win it, just because of how things were kind of leading up. I kind of thought Mandy was going to be taking a break. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I think I mentioned to you when we were watching it before. I haven't been able to fully grasp Alba Fire's character since she's like turned over that leaf and changed the name and everything. But it seemed like tonight they really had some stock in her being like some sort of like creepy character, which is pretty cool. It was the first time I really got a good vibe from that. And the face paint, the whole ordeal. Granted, it was Halloween Havoc. Like you said, will they run with that going forward? I'd be interested to see, but we'll get into later the match itself with her and Mandy. But yeah, it was definitely. Did it happen for no reason? I don't know. Well, maybe they'll continue after this, but before we get into that, man. Speaking of creepy, and you had a good question. We had a casket match between Apollo Crews and Grayson Waller, and you had asked us in Discord, was that the first ever casket match without Undertaker involved? And I still don't know the answer. And I didn't look it up, but I want to say, at least in WWE, I want to say it was. I could, maybe there was like a random one here and there with like Kane or like or some other, or like maybe Bray. I don't think Bray ever did one. I'm trying to think of another type of character that would do that, but I think it was the first casket match without the Undertaker involved. It was pretty good, man. What were your thoughts on the match?
It was it's funny. I made a joke during the matchup about what if the best casket match of all time didn't even involve the Undertaker. Not that I thought this was the best casket match of all time. It definitely was not. But it wasn't a bad match. I thought it was, once again, a fairly decent match, something whatever I would expect between Grayson Waller and Apollo Crews. The only thing that was a little bit weird was the obviously supernatural stuff. Now, I know like over the past couple of weeks on NXT, Apollo Crews has kind of been building up as this, almost like he's been very ominous. He's been almost like an enigma lately.
Sure.
Ever since the whole issue with his eye, especially coming out to ringside with the blood coming down off of his eye. It's been a little bit weird. There's kind of been hinted maybe there's some kind of spookiness to him. Once again, this could be kind of like the Alba Fire situation where this could be just for Halloween Havoc and that's it. Probably
Sure.
just for this rivalry and that's it. Probably going to lead to just a darker side of these characters, maybe more ruthless, maybe a more physical moveset style, so on and so forth. But the whole druid sequence in the matchup
Lights go
was
out. It was weird.
it was a little weird. It was a bit it was a bit it was a bit much. Um whatever. It's Halloween Havoc. It's hard with NXT, especially with this new rendition of NXT post 2.0. I still have the same expectations going into it. So it's nice to be surprised once in a while when you are surprised. As far as this match goes, it was very for the most part, it was very, by the book, in my opinion.
Sure.
Other than the creepy stuff and the real supernatural stuff that went down was a little head scratcher for those moments. But everything else was, once again, a good match. Nothing really to write home about.
I think it's weird, and nothing against these two competitors, but there was a feud here, so it made sense for them to have a match, maybe. But I feel like seeing them do stuff in that aspect and not have like a Joe Gacy and Schism on the card at all is a little weird to me. Like they fit right in the realm of Halloween Havoc, in my opinion. And to see like Apollo, like you said, pull off the lights out and Druids bring down a new casket after a great spot into a casket. But
for sure, I did forget to mention that great spot. Looked like it hurt.
To see that play out, and then it's like I just, again, with the blood in the eyes thing, it's still weird, and he's still the same Apollo to me. Like nothing's changed about him besides those like few marks. So I don't know if they're gonna like build off that and maybe have some sort of like anything else on top of that, but I don't know. We'll see. Grayson Waller is a great athlete. I think he deserved to be in that match. But for Apollo to be the one behind the creepiness of it just didn't make sense.
Yeah, I'll agree. And the bump that Grayson took going into the casket for the finish was that looked like a very, very, very stiff bump.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to him for taking that. That did not look fun at all.
Shout out to Project Kayfabe, our buddy Joe. There was more than one casket match without Taker. Most recent being Daniel Bryan versus Corbin Kane. Hey,
there you go. Love it. All right. I don't remember that at all.
Either do I. But you did mention you thought Kane would be a part of it. So it wasn't creepy Kane. It was corporate Kane, but still.
I would think of. And I definitely wouldn't have thought corporate Kane for sure.
Yeah. So nice. Joe, shout out to you, man. Appreciate it, bro.
Nice. Yes, thank you.
What was next? Let's bring it up here, huh? Weapons match.
Yes, Cora and Roxanne.
So when we got into this match, I had mentioned that Cora did have a dip in GCW at some point. So I wanted to see something from her, right? Like, I mean, her transition from the babyface skater chick to the heel has definitely been good, in my opinion. She's been carrying her own as for being such a young competitor, but I think they're both have to be 20 or 21 at this point. This match, I think it did good enough for their feud. There was some silly stuff involved in it, like a little clunky stuff. And we're going to talk about spots the whole night. The one big spot into the table was huge. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. It was off like the little platform they have in the NXT and the PC, and they both kind of jumped off into it, into the announce table or one of the announce tables, I think. But listen, man, I thought for what it was worth. Is this the blow off or the payoff for the feud? I'm not sure, but I think they did a good job. Like I said, a couple clunky things in between the match, but I think that for being so young, I looked at it as like them willing to do these things at such a young age, and for a girl feud, a women's feud, I should say. I shouldn't say girl, but a women's feud. Like I think it was pretty decent, man. I was like kind of happy watching the match. What about you, Goy?
Yeah, I loved it. I can't say I loved it. Let me take that back.
Mm.
I enjoyed it.
Yes, me too.
It was something that I'll be honest, I kind of expected a little bit more from.
Mm.
Just because there's been such a big build for their rivalry, it would have nice to have seen a little bit more. The table spot was impressive because of the height. I didn't really like. I was mentioning this to you during the stream. It seemed like maybe Roxanne hesitated a bit,
Mm.
and the presentation of it as them falling down was a little awkward.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I kind of get what they were trying to get across, where we go down together type deal. But presentation wasn't great for me. As far as that goes, everything else in the matchup was great. I mean, both women worked their asses off. Once again, I would have liked to see a little bit more. I'll be honest, I wouldn't have mind maybe some blood in this matchup. Like, this is a feud that is a grudge match, for all things considered. It's a weapons matchup. I'm not saying all out, gushing blood, but one of the women getting busted open a bit, you know what I mean, to add to that extra element. I'm also assuming this isn't the last. I'd assume we get more between these two. Hopefully. I don't know really where either woman goes from here.
No, I think there was minor speculation that Roxanne was being built up to go towards Mandy Rose, but I don't think they have to be done with her and Corey yet. I think there's still room for that. Yeah,
I feel like we could build Roxanne to Mania for that.
Yeah,
that
stand and deliver. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We got some few minutes. No, I was just saying. Like I said, I enjoyed the match. A couple clunky spots. Roxanne winning made most sense. So I thought it was good. I don't know what else to expect. I wasn't expecting like a fucking 5-star. Again, you can only preface how young these people are and like how they don't.
Although they've been competing for a while.
Yes,
though,
they have, but still,
Ring of Honor.
But young, even like whether they're 21 or 30, they're still young within the WWE system. So I still look at that as that way. So props to them. I think that it was a good match, entertaining. We missed it when we were watching live, but luckily Twitter and shout out to Bad News Tom Canale shot me a text. There was a promo. So after this match, I believe they showed like a Miz thing, Miz promo video package, and then in between that and a Charlotte package was seemingly T-Bar throwing his retribution mask into a fire. Not sure what the if it was meant. I had said this to you, if it was meant for main roster T-Bar or NXT T-Bar or Dijakovic. He also tweeted out this, and I posted it on the WrestleBuzz Instagram at WrestleBuzz on Instagram. If you kill him, he will win. Become vengeance, become wrath. So, a little crypticness from T-Bar. He deleted all his tweets before that. That's the only tweet he has available at the current moment. His handle still is T-Bar, so that hasn't changed yet. But man, we could talk about real quick. A guy that since Triple H has taken over, he's been running main event shows with I believe I want to say he's been going against like Cedric or like Ali for a minute now. Okay. A guy that I loved in NXT, a guy that I was waiting to see like break out on the main roster and never did. He's still with the company though. He was never one of those releases. So clearly there was some sort of hope with him there. This has got to mean a resurgence for Dominic Dijakovic, right? That was what he was called before T-Bar, right? There's got to be something.
One would hope. I loved his matches. His matches with Keith Lee made me a really big fan. To be honest, he's one of these athletes that when you see him in the ring and he does these things, you don't think he can do these things when he's doing them. I think he does like a whisper in the wind as well.
Something like that, dude. Yeah.
And it's
been so long since we've seen him on TV. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah, and he's a tall dude. He's got a slim build to him. and he's fantastic in the ring. I am excited to see what goes forth. The cryptic text is interesting. We're getting a lot of cryptic text nowadays in
Mhm.
pro wrestling, but I'm with it. Um, and yeah, I mean, yeah, anything that gets Dominic Dijakovic back on the screen is great for me. And hopefully they make whatever he's going to be called less syllables because Dominic Dijakovic
It's a
is a
mouthful.
mouthful.
For
Yeah,
sure, dude.
it's too much.
I'm gonna just because there's very few comments we had here, but Johnny Autism Wrestling, Cora Jade need to try out my hot dog. Hey, I mean, if I heard she's a vegan, so I don't know. You may
Is she? I
want
was gonna say, man,
to.
she might
I'm just
like onions, like the onions, the sauerkraut.
make sure to provide mustard, ketchup. I don't know. She might like the whole deal. She might be a vegan too,
The
so just be
works.
careful. Yeah,
The works.
heard she's into keto, so no bun either.
I don't know what you can and can't eat with keto.
Yeah, me either. Just be careful, Johnny. If you're offering out hot dogs these days, it's a tricky world.
Stuff.
Yeah, hopefully we see Dijakovic soon. Dijak T-Bar was a short name, so that was that a request. Was it a shitty name? Yeah, but I don't know. The ambulance match: Julius Creed versus Damon Kemp. If Damon Kemp won, Brutus Creed would be sent off from NXT.
Yes. Brutus being injured coming into this matchup.
Yes. So a lot of questions going in. Like this is such a in my opinion, such a random stipulation. I like for paper champion fantasy wrestling, I would never look into this match or just me like without reading outside of the world. Like be like they would never break up the Creed brothers. So why would they do that? That was my first thought. I was like, all right, so I'm taking Julius, and he ended up winning. But I don't know. The match itself was great. I think there's like a lot of learning curves for both of these guys. They're still, again, we mentioned it with Cora and Roxanne. They're still so young within the business or this company at least that there's still so much for them to learn. But I think they performed well. Julius being normally a tag team wrestler, getting the singles match is pretty big. So I mean, spots were good, match was good, had a lot of decent storytelling, if you want to call it that. But what were your thoughts? We had Julius win, and they don't have to split up now.
Yeah, I enjoyed this match. It was hard hitting. Um, this was what I expected from these two guys in this
Yeah.
matchup. Hard hitting, strong style. It was nice. Both of these guys obviously have like that amateur wrestling background to a degree, and it was nice to see them get a little hardcore with it. Awesome, loved it. I thought to myself, how could they work out having Julius lose and Damon win? I thought just out of brotherly loyalty, he would also leave NXT
Yeah.
along with Brutus if he were to lose the matchup. But obviously, it didn't happen. Damon lost, and Damon could afford this loss. He didn't get pinned. He just got thrown in the back of, well, beaten up in the back of an ambulance, you know. So I think this is a good loss for him to take. Julius looks strong. He's obviously like I hate to say the star of the group and put him out like that, but you know, he always impresses me every single time he's in the ring. Like he's a stud, man.
He's good. No, he's really good, dude. And I think we had a comparison when we were talking before from Julius to Brutus to Montez to Dawkins, right? And it's kind of like similar. Like those two stick out, but the other two hold their own, and there's room for them to be stars as well. But I feel like Julius and Montez are just they have that look and that representation where it's like, oh wow, these guys are going to be the next big things, maybe. So we'll see. They still again they're still young. To see them on the main roster is going to be a treat whenever that does happen. So that could have been a benefit of Julius losing was like you said, them both moving up to the main roster could have been good. But we'll see what the future holds. What Roddy plans on doing because remember before Triple H took over, he was requesting his release. Now he's in a wheelchair. I don't know what's happening with Roddy. Is he just a coach? I have no idea. So
I love Roddy. I hope
yeah,
something better for him. Main roster, maybe. Wouldn't mind just putting him right up there. I you know, whatever Roddy wants to do, I'm with it. But
yeah,
I really
for sure.
hope he stays in WWE.
Yeah. We mentioned it before. We talked about the horror horror movie segment, but
Ooh.
Mandy Rose versus Alba Fire, NXT Women's Championship. Mandy, put some damn respect on her name, right?
Mm,
What a run she's had.
mm.
And granted, a little fugazi, a little outside interference. Doesn't hurt though when you're a heel champion. You can do whatever you want, really. But
Yeah.
the question was, at least for me, at least, was how short the match was, and how it kind of. I feel like it just ended quick, right? Like I don't know. They've pushed Alba decently to this point where, like even you said, you kind of thought she maybe was the one to take it away from Andy. I wasn't at that point yet, but I thought maybe she would have put up a bigger fight. And so Mandy is still the NXT Women's champion. Is there really any thoughts on the match though? Like, do we have any? Nothing crazy happened. It was more or less what we saw before. That was like the bigger.
Yeah, I feel like it was very similar to their first match, just minus the horror elements. Of course, Gigi and JC were taken out before the matchup, and then they came to interfere and help Mandy win towards the tail end of the matchup.
Yeah.
Um, that I actually, it is what it is. Heel tactics.
Yeah.
Can't
be mad at that, right? Like,
can't be mad at that.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen, maybe once again, I was rooting for Alba in this one, so I would have liked to have seen Alba fend it off. But I mean, Mandy, once again, I guess I gotta just shut up and put some respect on her damn name because she is on one hell of a run. And it's funny, once again, like you said, heels, they can get away with this kind of stuff. Having the team, stick in there and stick up for her and come in and help her out. It's big. They got to build up a challenger for her. It's obviously got to be a face, and there's not too many faces in the NXT Women's division. There are a lot of heels. I wouldn't be surprised if Zoe Stark or Nikita Lyons start getting in the mix, maybe around Royal Rumble or Mania season, along with Roxanne. I don't see Zoe and Nikita beating Kaden and Katana. I think something's going to happen there. I was mentioning that during the show. So I'd imagine that, once again, one of those two women is going to turn on the other. Nikita turning on Zoe or Zoe turning on Nikita. And then obviously a rivalry will form out of that. And whoever wins out of that, which I'm assuming is going to be Nikita. I got to think that Nikita and Roxanne are inevitably on a course because, granted, I don't know if I can't recall if they've wrestled in the past couple of months, but I know that it was Nikita's injury, I believe, that put Roxanne in the tournament, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, a match between the two would be quite nice to see.
We were talking about age before, man. Yeah, for sure. We were talking about age before. Do you know how old Nikita Lyons is?
It's like 22, right?
23, bro.
23.
Wild, man. Bright future.
The power of youth. That's it. Yeah.
Power of youth is
there.
there.
And here's the thing, man. All the wrestlers nowadays, bless them, because they're all athletes. They all train. They're not, schlums coming in, at the fucking bingo hall. You know what I'm saying? That they just come in with a fucking 6-pack and a fucking, and a gun and a pocket full of fucking coca. Yeah, let's get in the ring, buddy. Let's work, pal. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're athletes. These guys are training, doing keto and shit.
Doing keto and shit. Keto and what's the whatever.
Atkins. I'm not really too sure of it.
And what is how does Seth Rollins train? What's the type of exercise they do?
Oh man,
something fit.
CrossFit.
CrossFit, yeah. Sorry. Look at me. I don't do CrossFit, guys.
I see you there, pal.
Main event of the evening. NXT Championship. Braun Breaker. Ilya Dragunov. JD McDonough. Triple threat. We watched JD McDonough walk down that aisle, and I'm like, this guy looks so tiny compared to Braun. And then Braun stands right next to him. roughly the same fucking height. They're maybe like 2 inches off. I'm like, damn, I had no idea. But damn, what a freaking match, man. Like, these guys are making names for themselves. Braun's killing it. Braun ends up winning the match. We'll get right to it. Like, and still NXT champion. What a run for him, man. But that match itself, Dragunov, we talked about it before. Dragunov is a stud. And we kind of only, like you said, we only got to see what we got from him in Walter matches, right? Or Gunther matches. And we're getting a new version, or not a new version, but basically a second level of him coming over to the US and on regular NXT and getting to see him on our side, not just NXT UK. And man, he's killing it. JD McDonough, very impressive. Braun Breaker kills it. I thought it was a very fun match to watch. The ending was good. Finishers were great. A lot of hard hitting stuff. Who's gonna get into the match first? But then after that, who's gonna beat Braun? It's like I'm looking at Roman and Braun Breaker. It's like I don't know who the fuck can beat these guys, right? Like I had no idea. Well, I have an idea, but like realistically, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
Man, match of the night.
Sure.
Stellar performance from all three guys. I'm not a JD McDonough guy, but Devlin tore it up tonight.
Yeah.
Ilya, I haven't watched too much of him, like we were saying before. I have watched his matches with Walter. I mean, stellar. With some of the greatest matches, I'll be honest, I've ever seen. These were hard hitting matches. If you haven't watched them, go to your way and watch them. But this was something I thought that Braun, once again, I expected a lot of new champions tonight. Looking back at it in hindsight, probably wasn't the best idea. It's just a Halloween Havoc. But either way, it being a premium live event and not like a regular weekly show with a name on it, kind of similar to what the AEW does, I figured there would be some significant changes, some balance shifts. And there wasn't really. Like the status quo across all divisions in NXT tonight kind of stayed the same. You know, tag team championships weren't on the line. We did see Pretty Deadly in a promo, but that was about it. There was the other promo with Lash Legend and
Shotzi.
And Shotzi, that's of course right, and Quincy. Which shout out to Shotzi with the Beetlejuice outfit. Either way, getting back to the matchup, I'm getting ahead of myself and all over the place. But love the matchup. Fantastic performance from all guys. I thought, you know, back to the original thought, I thought that it was going to be a title change. I thought you could have gotten away with having Braun Breaker lose, but not be involved in the finish. Obviously, I thought that was the whole point of it being a triple threat match. If I'm not mistaken, is this Braun's first defense in a triple threat match? Or has he defended before in a triple threat match? I feel like possibly Dolph was involved in one.
Like him, Dolph, and someone else.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But either way, so him, Dolph, and Tommaso?
Maybe.
Possibly. But either way, so it was, once again, great matchup. Thought we were going to get a title change. Also thought we were going to see somebody come out. I mentioned this during the show. After the finish of the matchup, it seems like every single premium live event for NXT or any big show during the week, anytime Braun has conquered his latest foe, a new foe debuts. So we didn't get that tonight. So maybe on NXT this coming up Tuesday, we do get that. Or one of these two men who took the finish. Was it
I think it was
Ilya?
Ilya, yeah.
Okay, so we probably won't get another JD Braun rematch. But either way, Braun, dominant run, killing it. As of right now, I can only think of one man that's going to take that title off of him, and it's Carmelo Hayes. There's no reason Carmelo Hayes needs to be dilly-dallying in the NXT North American division. The A champ needs to come on up and get the A+ belt and graduate to the big boy division and get himself the NXT World Heavyweight Championship like he deserves. And then possibly start a rivalry with Trick Williams, because people might be sleeping on Trick Williams. I think Trick Williams is a star on the main roster. Star.
I think they both are for sure. And I think Braun is too. And that could be it. I honestly think we see Melo up on the main roster before we see Braun. I think Melo
agree.
gets that jump. I think he's going to skip over that championship and go right to
Okay.
the main. I could be wrong.
see that.
Yeah. There's really no one else I see on the roster at this current moment to take that championship from Braun, but you never know. Someone could pop out. Maybe they just kind of swerve us and throw like Von Wagner in the mix. I wouldn't like that, but you never know, right? We don't know what's going on. But a hell of a match, a hell of a defense for Braun, killing it. A Reign that's kind of taken over. Like maybe they're trying to break a record here with a longest reign. He's got some time, but you never know. We might see some records broken. He's still 24 years old, man. So he's got some time. I thought it was a fun show tonight, man. I thought I hope we start to see, because like normally I feel like we'd see Halloween Havoc on a weekday on an NXT episode. Now if they're gonna push it more towards a PLE as they call it, I'd be more happy with that. So I want to say the next one up is didn't they announce like NXT Deadline or something like that? Is that like the new one coming out?
Yeah, so there's one. I think there's still one more left in November.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it's
with Survivor Series lined up with Survivor Series.
I think so.
Okay.
I have to double check on that one. But I'm pretty sure there's another one coming up in November. If not, maybe December. I think December doesn't have any pay-per-views. I have to double check on that, like from any company whatsoever.
Okay.
Like maybe one or two. I'll have to. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to, check. But
this is what we do.
I know there's at least one more NXT pay-per-view or premium live event.
This is what happens when you ask questions to when we ask ourselves questions. A couple of drinks, maybe hit a couple, things here.
Couple things here. I got RVD over here.
RVD and Riddle. Joe hit us up again
for the first time in the triple threat match. Okay,
that makes sense. Then. Yes, I do remember that. Now.
Right.
Now you're bringing it up when Dolph won, right? Isn't that when? Yes, dude, that was a shocker.
That's right. That was a shocker.
Yeah,
that was a shocker.
Was that the one during the day?
Felt like 9 years ago. That was the one.
No, was that
why would it have been during?
I don't know.
Oh, because of Mania. There was one on.
But that would have been Stand and Deliver then. I don't know. Whatever. This is March, so
was there two Stand and Deliver? Night 1, night 2? No, right? It was one.
Yeah, maybe. But I remember him. I do remember him losing in the triple threat. Now I remember when Dolph won. So
was it Stand and Deliver one? Well, not Stand and Deliver, but Stand and Deliver on the night of night 1 of WrestleMania.
Yeah, it was I want to say it was the Saturday.
I think that might have been it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's when that triple.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see Roadblock last month. Yeah.
That's what we said, Roadblock. Yeah.
I didn't read that part.
But thank you, Joe, for that. Thanks for
thank you.
Being our stat guy tonight.
Everybody go follow Project Kayfabe Instagram. Do it.
Yes. NXT Deadline. I'll read it. I'll put it out here. NXT Deadline is happening on December 10th, the same day as ROH Final Battle.
Deadline.
I think Final Battle is during the day too. They made that a 3 p.m. show. So that's the first.
I thought Tony Khan wasn't going to take the shit.
Oh yeah, I thought this is the first because normally WWE would revolve around them, and like as far as I know, Final Battle was announced before Deadline, unless it was a thing beforehand. I don't know. It's pretty interesting to see. Should be good though.
I wonder what are the locations for each show. I wonder.
Joe, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm Joe. Joe, don't be our fact check guy. You can be our fact check guy.
But no, I love this. I love the competitiveness. The competitiveness of like when these two companies go like back and forth, and we benefit off it. We get daytime wrestling, nighttime wrestling, which have a shitload of wrestling. And it's a lot of fun, man.
They are long days, but they are very fun days. I'll be honest, it's with this whole AEW inclusion in wrestling within the last 3 or 4 years, it's been nice to have that alternative simply for days like that,
Yeah.
just all day of wrestling.
But
Yeah,
now we have
we love it.
now we have AEW, WWE, NXT, and ROH because ROH is supposed to get that streaming deal now. It's gonna be a lot of fun, man. It's gonna be a lot of
I'm
fun.
excited. I'm excited to see what show they get. I'll include them in Paper Champions Season 7 if they got a
Ooh.
show that I can get.
This is live. You can't commit to that on live.
If
Unless you really
Impact
wanna
can
do it.
get their ass on fucking YouTube TV, I'll do that too.
Hell yeah.
I'm trying to draft fucking Moose.
Moose. Brother, I had a good time tonight, man. It was fun watching the
Fantastic.
pay-per-view with you, doing this live. Anyone that came through, Joe, I appreciate you the most for fact-checking the shit out of us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, anyone else that came by and checked this out. If you're not here live and you're listening to us on the WrestleBuzz Podcast Network feed, we appreciate that as well. I'm Joseph Crush. That is Eric James, the CEO, president of Paper Champion Fantasy Wrestling.
One day everyone's going to be playing it. Don't worry.
One day. Look out. ThePaperChampion.com. ThePaperChampion.com. Subscribe to WrestleBuzz on YouTube. Like, comment. What do you do? Subscribe here.
Smash the heck out of that like button, guys.
Yeah,
Smash
that's what you say.
the
That's what
follow
the kids say,
button.
right? That's what the kids
That's what all
say.
the kids say nowadays. Smash it, elbow drop it. Put some respect on that like button the way we should all be putting respect on Mandy Rose's name, for Christ's sake.
Hell yes.
Jeez Louise.
Everyone, take care. Stay safe. Watch pro wrestling.